Hi friends, my name is Aqil Ahmed, and in this particular video tutorial I will show you how to upload multiple files to SFTP server using scriptas in SSIS. So actually recently I had created a video where I have shown you how to upload the files to the SFTP server using C#.NET using a C# console app, and while using the same code inside a script task in the SSIS package, Frank was having the issue, and I'm sure some of the users might be having the same issue while using the same code inside the script task in SSIS. And the reason was because we are using a DLL in the C# console app to upload the files to the SFTP server, and if you are going to use the DLL in the script task, then one of the most important thing is that you should need to register the DLL to the GAC before using the DLL inside the script task in the SSIS package. And same issue I have faced in some of the SSIS packages as well, that I created an SSIS package and I tested it on the development server, but when I deploy the package to the production server, then the package breaks on the script task because there is a DLL that is being used and I had not registered the DLL on the production server. So if you are using a DLL in the script task, then first of all you should try to register the DLL in the GAC. So that's the main thing. So now let's see how we can use the C# console app code inside the script task in the SSIS package, and let's see how we can register the DLL to the GAC. So let's jump to the demo. I have created a video like how to configure an SFTP server. So in case if you don't have the SFTP server, secure FTP server, then you can watch this particular video how to set up an SFTP server on Windows 10 machine, and I will share the link of this particular video in the description of the video, and you can just configure the SFTP server on your machine and then you can continue on this particular video. But if you already have an SFTP server, then you can just ignore this particular part. Okay, so let me try to connect to the SFTP server. So I have used the WinSCP client to connect to the SFTP server so that I can see the data using the GUI. Okay, so it is saying that new version was released, upgrade or close, or maybe I can just close it for now because I can upgrade later. And okay, so from the file protocol we need to select the SFTP, so that is already selected, so that's good. Now here we need to type the IP address of the machine of the SFTP server. So I can open the command prompt here and I can write ipconfig so that it can show me the IP address of the machine. So if you look at the IPv4 address, so this is the IP address of my machine. So I can copy this one and I can paste it here, and here we need to type the password of the SFTP server. Because SFTP server is installed on my local machine, so I need to provide all the details of my local machine. So the username is HP, and let me type the password here. Okay, and now let me click on login. So this should be connected to the SFTP server. So on the right side, this data is from the SFTP server. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to upload the data to the C drive. In the C drive I want to upload it to data to upload. So in this particular folder I want to upload all the files. Okay, so from D files location, these are the 7 CSV files. So I want to upload all these 7 CSV files to the SFTP server into the this location, C data to load location. Okay, so all the CSV files should be uploaded here. Okay, so this is fine. Alright, so now what I want to do is I had already created one of the video where I used the C# console app, and this was the video number 133, how to upload files to SFTP server, and I had shared this particular code. Okay, so now let me do one thing, that let me create an SSIS package now. Okay, so this will be the name of the SSIS package, how to upload files to SFTP server using script task. Okay, so let me open the Visual Studio and click on this particular icon so that the Visual Studio GUI can be opened up. Create a new project, integration services project. Next I can paste the project name and then I can select the location and I can click on create. So this will create a blank SSIS package for me. Alright, so the SSIS project has been opened up. So now let me open the code that we need to use inside the script task. So this is the code C#code.txt. Let me open this particular file, and this is the method that we need to use. Okay, so now let me do one thing, that in the SSIS project let me just drag and drop the script task into the control flow window, and now let me right click and configure the script task. The scripting language is C#, so that's fine. I can click on edit script so that it can open the script editor for me. So the code has been opened up, and I can copy this particular method from here and I can paste it here. Okay, outside of the main method I can paste the method here. Okay, and then we need to fix some of the issues. So like you can see a red line just below the directory, so I can just hover my mouse on it and click on show potential fixes. So I can add system.io here. Okay, so if I open the folder that I downloaded from the internet that I created, so this is the folder and there is a folder rensi.sshnet. So if I open this particular folder further, so this is the DLL that we need to use inside the script task. Okay, so what I can do, I can just copy the path of the DLL from here. I can copy this one and I can expand the references and I can right click and click on add reference. Then I can browse it and I can paste the DLL path, click add, and then I can click on OK. So now you can see that rensi.sshnet DLL has been added here. Okay, now if I hover my mouse on SFTP client, because there is a red line beneath to this one, so I can click on show potential fixes and I can click on this one using rensi.sshnet. So now you can see that the error has gone and our code seems good here. Okay, so this is the name of the SFTP server and this is the username, and let me type my latest password here. Okay, and this is the folder, the SFTP folder where the data will be uploaded. See data to upload. Okay, so the data will be uploaded to this particular folder, and now this is the local folder path from where all the CSV files will be uploaded. Okay, and then we are running a loop through all the files inside the D files location, the files those ends with .csv. Okay, and then we are just creating an instance of the SFTP client, passing the host name, port number, which is 22. Okay, this one, and then the username, password, and then we are connecting to the SFTP server, changing the directory to this particular directory, this directory, otherwise it will upload to the default directory. And then we are checking if the client is connected, then we are just uploading the data to the SFTP server. So this will run for all the files. We are using the client.upload file method. So this is good. Now what we need to do, we need to call this particular method inside the main method, and we can end it with a semicolon. So our code is completed now, and what I can do, I can click on file, exit, and I can click on OK, so that it can save the code inside the script task. So that should be fine. Now there is one important thing, that if you are going to write some code inside the script task, then it is always advisable that you should use the try and catch blocks, so that in case any error occurs, then it should log the error. So I can just configure the error handling as well. So I can right click and click on edit, click on edit script. For the error handling thing, we can use these 3 lines of code that should be good for handling the errors. So let's wait until the script editor has been opened up, and then we can use the error handling code there. So in the main method, what we will do, we will use the try and catch blocks. Okay, so let me just copy and paste these 2 lines of code here. So what we are doing, we have declared a log folder here, D files log. So in case if any error will occur, then it will create a log file inside this particular folder. You can configure this particular folder according to the path on your machine. Now I can use the try block here, and I can move the code that can fail inside the try block. Okay, and then I can write a catch block here, catch exception, and then I can write the code that will catch the exception. Okay, so this is the code. So I can copy this code from here and I can paste it here. So this is fine. Now what will happen, that in case if this process will fail, then it will go inside the catch block, and inside this particular location, D files logs, it will create a file error log underscore current date time dot log, and it will log the actual error message. So this is perfectly fine. Now I can click on file, exit, and I can click on OK, so that it will save the code for us, and that will be the end of the code inside the script task. And now here comes the most important part of this particular video, that if you are going to use a DLL inside your script task in the SSIS package, then you need to register the DLL to the GAC. Okay, now the thing is, on your machine, if you have the .NET 4.0 or more, then you can check the DLLs at this particular location. So I can just paste this particular path here and I can click on open, and here you can see three folders. The first one is the GAC32. So here you will find all the DLLs. Those are registered for the 32-bit architecture, and these are the DLLs GAC64. Those are designed for the 64-bit architecture. And then we got the GAC MSIL. So here there are all the DLLs which are platform independent, and they can work for both 32-bit and 64-bit machines. Okay, so if I open this particular folder GAC MSIL, and if I click on R, because the DLL name should be RANSI, so there should be a folder here with the name ransi.dll. So we don't have the folder here. It means that the GAC is not registered yet. Okay, so to register the DLL, you need to go to the file menu, and from here, if you have a Visual Studio installed on your machine, then you can open that particular Visual Studio folder, and then from there you can find the command prompt to register the DLL. So on my machine I have Visual Studio 2019, so I can come here at Visual Studio 2019, and then I can found a command prompt, developer command prompt for VS 2019. So you can open that developer command prompt, right click on it, go to the more, and then click on run as administrator, and I can click on yes. So this will open the command prompt in the administrative mode. Okay, and here we can register the DLL to the GAC. How we can register? We can use the GAC util -i is for install, and then you need to give the path of the DLL. So my DLL is at this particular path, 133 ransi.sssnet, and then I can copy the full path from here. Copy this one, and then you can put double quote, paste the path and the double quote. Okay, and then you can press enter. So it is saying that failure adding assembly to the cache, a strong name signature could not be verified, was the assembly build delay signed. Okay, so it is not able to register the DLL to the GAC because it is not strongly name signed. Because we have not created this DLL ransi.sssnet, so we don't have the source code for this particular DLL. So what we can do to register the DLL, we can just skip this verification process. Okay, so what we can do, I have this particular code, and I can paste it here. This is for strong name _VR, so it will skip the verification process for this particular DLL. If you look at the Microsoft site learn.microsoft.com, so this is the strong name tool, and if you search for the -vr command, so what this command will do, that it registers assembly for verification skipping. So it won't verify the DLL, it will skip the verification process. Okay, so but because the DLL is not strongly named, and we don't have the source code, so we can just skip the verification process for this DLL. So I can click on enter, and this is saying that verification entry added for assembly ransi.sssnet. Okay, and now what we can do, we can try to register DLL again. So I can just retry to register the DLL to the GAC, and now it should be successful. So now you can see that assembly successfully added to the cache. So now we should be good. Now I can open this particular path, GAC MSIL path, and now I can see an entry here ransi.sssnet, and if I open this particular folder, so this is the version of the DLL .NET 4.0, and here I can see the ransi.sssnet.dll. okay, so it means that our DLL has been registered on the GAC. So this is perfectly fine. Now what we can do is that we can execute the SSIS package, and now our SSIS package should upload all the files, all the CSV files from D files location to the SFTP server onto this location C data to load. Okay, so as of now there are no files here. Okay, so let me execute the SSIS package and let's see how it goes. So the package is running, and yeah, so it seems like the process ran fine. And if I go to the SFTP server and if I refresh the folder here, so you can see that all the CSV files have been uploaded to the SFTP server. Yeah, so I think that was a pretty strong message that before using a DLL inside a script task, you must register the DLL to the GAC. Otherwise the package will fail and you won't be able to execute the code that is dependent on the DLL. So I will share all the code with you, especially the code that is used inside the script task, and maybe I can share these couple of lines of code as well, the path to the GAC and this particular command prompts it. This command actually register the DLL for the verification skipping, and this particular code actually removes the DLL for the verification skipping, and this particular line, this can actually register the DLL to the GAC. Okay, this is the GAC util command. So I will share all these things with you, so you can download it from the link in the description of the video. Yeah, so I think that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you like the video, then please click the like button. Do subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon and click on all so that you will be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much.